Welcome back. You're tuned in to Chartbusters. You're on CNBC-TV18. Well, cement stocks, they have been the talk of town. This after stocks have been surging in the past week or so. There is a hope that demand is picking up. There have been select price increases as well that are being pushed through. And now cost pressures as well are receding. Will there be any consolidation in this space? Well, let's bring in our guest. We have Mr. Anil Singhvi, Executive Chairman of Shree Digvijay Cement, as well as Mr. Radhakrishnan, a Wholetime Director and CEO at Kesoram Industries. Thanks so much, gentlemen, for joining in. Well, Mr. Singhvi, coming straight to you first. Could you give us a sense about pricing first up? How are prices on ground? There are, talks that, in fact, there has been a price increase that has pushed through in the month of September. Can you confirm that? And also give us a sense about what has been the price correction, in this quarter so far in comparison to quarter one.
Hi, Anil. Thanks for having me. There are two things which I very clearly see is that the prices have been slightly improving, more so in south and east where the price increases have been taken. In north, still struggling because the demand has not yet picked up very well in north and west also. I think the monsoon has been rather heavy for the month of August. I don't think we have seen this kind of monsoon in many parts of the country as what we have seen in August. So demand has been a little tepid in those areas where monsoon has been heavy, and I expect the prices will inch up in next fortnight or so because the monsoon seems to be now withdrawing and demand is picking up again. So my expectation is that the prices which we lost during last 2-3 months on account of monsoon will come back again. Cost side pressures are still there. They have not come down except for the pet coke. So industry's profitability obviously is still under a lot of strain. But if the prices move up with the demand in October, I hope margins will come back again from the October-December quarter.
That point. Mr. Radhakrishnan, welcome you on to the discussion as well. Could you give us a sense of how the prices have moved in both west as well as south? You all were looking to push some hikes in September. Has that happened? How much has the cut been? How much has the revision, if at all, any been?
The prices have marginally gone up. If you ask me, have the prices gone up to weather the cost pressures? Not it. The substantial increase in cost pressure in Q1 and yes, Q2, as Mr. Singhvi suggested, in pet coke, there is a decline. But overall, the fuel prices are still on the higher side. There has been price increase. Hopefully, going forward, there will be further increases to absorb the cost pressure.
Okay. All right. So not managed to push through the entire cost pressure. But Mr. Singhvi, we'll get back to talking about demand pricing. What about inorganic growth? The street is abuzz that there is plenty of action out there. In our interactions in the past as well, we have chatted a lot about it. Is there something in the works? Should we be looking forward to some consolidation? There's plenty of buzz. Whether the larger names will come and gobble up some of the smaller names. Your take?
Well, cement has been, for last at least 35-40 years that I have been tracking, cement has been one of the industries where you have a consolidation, then again new players come in. So I think it's a constant game. I wouldn't call it that it's a one-time affair for larger players to, I wouldn't use the word gobble up, but yes, get consolidated and look for larger players in the industry. So if you look at last 20-25 year journey, I think the large players have become larger. So definitely the marginal players have moved out. But I think the industry is still too fragmented for us to really look for just about 8-10 players having 80-90% of capacity like any other play in India. So cement still remains very fragmented. So there is enough scope for larger players to really consolidate. We haven't seen much of consolidation taking place in last at least 3-4 years. I mean, I wouldn't call wholesale sale of cement assets to Adani as a consolidation. It's a transfer of asset from one hand to the other hand. But I think looking at the large 5-6 players, there is room now for inorganic growth as well because I think organic growth in India in terms of setting up brownfield or greenfield takes close to 3 to 5 years. And I think the demand, if it goes up in next year or two, I think we'll definitely have some supply coming in.
Right, we take that point, Mr. Singhvi, that it has been a game of consolidation over the last many years. and a lot of people have been looking constantly. There are companies which are trading at lesser than replacement value, so they make them attractive as opportunities for the larger players, etc. But what we're trying to understand is that over the last couple of weeks or so, if not more, this chatter has increased a lot. So what we try to understand from you is that, is there anything that you are aware of which is taking place in the industry? You can choose not to take any specific name, etc. But is there any activity? Is the volume of activity with regards to this increasing over the last couple of weeks or so? Because that's the chatter that we hear.
Well, that's the chatter which I'm also hearing. So I don't
have
any specific knowledge. But
I think we'll just fix that connection with Mr. Singhvi. He was trying to make a point out there. But since Mr. Radhakrishnan is with us, Mr. Radhakrishnan, let's come across to you. The street believes that smaller players, 5 to 10 million tons odd, they could be picked up. Has there been any approach to y'all, Kesoram Industries? And the buzz forever has been that Ultratech Cement is interested. Could you clarify on that?
No, it's always a smallish, niche, beautiful and strong, right? That's the way. So the small players will thrive. Probably, I can say, what was 4 million, 5 million a mini plant, people used to say. Now, the way the larger players have grown, now 8 or 9 million, the definition of mini plants may shift. That's the way.
No, Mr. Radhakrishnan, but specific to the point, have any of these larger players, I can see a bit of a grin on your face as well, so this is going to be quiet. This is going to be interesting.
I am grinning as time and again I have clarified to you.
No, but but in the last 1 month in particular, people are saying that there's a lot of action on ground. So has any of these big players come and said that have approached you? Any kind of discussion?
Absolutely no.
Okay. But what if you're trading at what, $60 per ton or less than that? If there is an offer, do you think promoter will be willing to sell?
Absolutely no.
All right, take that point. We have, Mr. Singhvi back with us. Mr. Singhvi, you were making a point. You said you concurred with us that the chatter has increased, but you refused to speak about some specifics. I mean, what is it? Is it larger players looking to, consolidate with players which are trading sub-replacement value? Or is it smaller players looking to merge with themselves? Can you give us a sense, any color on what geography, anything that can maybe, give us a little more color into the chatter that is going around right now?
Yeah, I don't expect things to happen in next couple of weeks or couple of fortnights. But I think when you look at the larger theme of cement, for the entry of the likes of Mr. Adani into the game, so you have the first 5 players having capacity to really consolidate the industry further. So I look at the next 2-3 quarters time, there will be definitely consolidation. There will be players who are maybe not efficient, maybe unable to augment the capacities, will be taken over by those who think they can expand the capacities by way of acquiring those assets, and they can augment even larger capacities by making those plants run very efficiently. So I think that time has come for cement industry to look for a wave of consolidation. So I wouldn't put A acquiring B, but the point in what I'm making is that in the next 3 to 4 quarters, we will see a game of consolidation of at least 30 to 40 million tons.
Just to follow up on that, what geography are you hearing the maximum amount of chatter from?
Yeah, just to be a little bit more specific.
I don't think.
The wave that you're talking about, is it somewhere in the western region? Because there is some candidates out there that the street believes, and the southern region as well. The street is a buzz. Do you think the wave is going in both these two directions?
Because what happens is once you put the geography, then you will ask the name.
No, we won't ask you the name. Don't worry.
We are stopping at the geography from here. The next interview, maybe we'll try to get the name. But for now, we are just focusing on the 2 geographies. Maybe a 6 million ton plant in West India and maybe a 15 million ton plant in South India. Have you heard anything on that?
I mean, you know it well that everyone can then hazard a guess on that. But let me concentrate on that, because we are not here for any speculation or any market gossips. I wouldn't indulge myself into that. So my point is very clear that yes, industry will go through consolidation. It is left to the players who wants to get over, who wants to be taken over and who wants to take whom. But point which is important for industry, I think we should, as a responsible channel, should look at it that having gone through this very difficult period for last almost about 2 to 3 quarters, I think industry is now looking for better demand, better pricing and consolidation.
Right.
I think when you look at the theme for the industry, that's a very important theme on this, that prices are improving or they will improve. Demand is going to go up, capacity creation is very low, and consolidation is going to happen.
Right.
I think it's the whole industry's profile and whole industry's valuation will definitely start inching up and moving
Right.
up.
We
And
take that point. We take that point, Mr. Singhvi. We take that point, Mr. Singhvi. Before we go across to Mr. Radhakrishnan for his comment on the volume EBITDA per ton sort of outlook that he has for the year, a final follow-up to you, Mr. Singhvi. You're a 1 million ton plant. Have you been approached by any larger player?
And you think that I, in any case, get into this?
Okay, there was chatter between Sanghi and you as well. Has something like that happened?
No, I wouldn't, as I mentioned to you, I wouldn't get into the names and all that. And I have been in the industry for long enough to understand the dynamics here.
Yeah.
Each one himself or herself on this matter. But point which I'm making is that happy days are here again for industry.
Okay, all right. Very quickly, before we let you go, what kind of volume growth are you looking at for FY23? And EBITDA per ton, you're holding at around 1100 rupees per ton. Maybe the worst of cost pressures are behind. So what will the guidance be on both these two parameters?
Well, I think the worst is still continuing. I don't think the worst is behind us completely. Okay, because the coal prices still remain very high. When we're looking at that, what the prices of the petcoke moved from 8,000 to 23,000, they've come back to about 16,000. But
Yes.
still they're 8 to 16,000. So unless the prices move up by about 30 to 40 rupees a ton,
Yeah.
it will be difficult to hold on to the margins which we had. But yes, squeezing the best out of the plant, I still expect that we will have a 10% growth over last year. And EBITDA margin for the full year should be in the region of 1,000 rupees, what we have been making.
All right. So 10% volume growth and 1,000 rupees on an EBITDA per ton. We got that correct, right, Mr. Singhvi?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Let's wind this down. Mr. Radhakrishnan, what about you? You were talking, I think, about a volume number of closer to around 8 million tons, I think so. 7.5 to 8 million tons. Or if you could give us a revised number, or do you want to stick to that? And EBITDA per ton of 600 to 650. Petcoke prices have cooled. Do you think it's time for you to revise that number?
No, I would stick to those numbers at this juncture and wait for a quarter more.
So you're saying 8 million tons is what you'll do with 650 rupees of EBITDA per ton?
Correct. Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot, gentlemen. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you guys. You all did, whet our appetite a little more in terms of the consolidation, etc., the situation that there is right now. But, trust us to call you again in a few weeks, probably. And this time, at least, we'll have a little more, Nigel, and we'll probably get into the specifics as well.
I'm wondering whether by then we have a deal, because the way the stocks are moving, the street believes that there is a deal on the cards, and it's been happening Mangalam phase-wise. First, the smaller companies, they ran up.
Yeah.
Now the street believes maybe the worst is over for a company that trades at peak valuations. That's Shree Cement. It traded at around 32,000 rupees odd, fell down to around 19,000 rupees odd. In the last few days, that's been the big outperformer from being the biggest underperformer in this year so far. Shree Cement, if you just pull up maybe the year-to-date chart, that's in 2022, and you pull up the Nifty chart, you'll see that the stock has underperformed. But it's done a good rebound, so let's see whether or not there is something on the cards.
We will monitor that situation as we do that. And I'll, as Nigel pointed out, that Shree Cement has been an underperformer, was exited or has been excluded from the Nifty from the next revision itself, September 30th. So we'll monitor whether some of that underperformance is now coming undone, or is there some more to that price move that we're looking at. But talking about price moves itself, a lot of stocks are buzzing around in the broader markets. Metropolis Health, that's the one which is up at the high point of today's trading session. That too has been a bit of an underperformer in the past. From the start of this year is down almost 60%. So Metropolis Health is doing some bit of a bounce back. And alongside that, we have a couple of these other names as well. Cummins, for instance, has moved to the high point as well. On that note, what we'll do is we'll take your leave on this edition of Chartbusters, but you stay tuned. Trading Hour comes up next.